What's up, tribe? Good evening. This is your review for Love Is Season 1, Episode 7. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. Good news is Love Is has been renewed for Season 2. Now, I know that some people are having a hard time getting into it. You know, I thought the ratings were low. I didn't think it was going to I was really worried about it getting picked up. But I'm glad that it's being picked up for Season 2. And I hope that people who are having a hard time maybe getting with it, stick with it. Because I like it. It was a couple of episodes where I was just like, but I do like it. And I think it's their story. Like, I can't say it's everybody's story, but this is based on their love story. Um, so anyway, so this episode we pick up, we see Yasir on a job interview, which he is totally tanking. Like, he's being a total jerk. The guy is at a bookstore, and the guy's like, what's the last book you read? And he was like, it was a James Baldwin, shit, I forgot now. Was it Go Tell It on the Mountain? Anyway, it was a James Baldwin. And the guy was like, well, have you read anything contemporary, you know? And Yasir was like, nah, not really. And he was like, what about Game of Thrones? Which I guess it was coming out then. And then he said Tuesdays with Morrie. And then he said another book that's become a real popular book, or maybe they made into a movie. And Yasir's like, nah, nah. And then he gives them some bullshit about white writers and explaining black, some real ignorant shit. So dude was like, yeah, all right, then thanks, we'll call you. you know. And Yasir goes out in the parking lot, and, they do the flashback to the current Yasir. And Yasir is like, at that moment I realized that, and basically he was like, I had to humble myself. Like, I need this job. Like, no, I have to, Nori has to see me as a productive part of this relationship. Like, I can't keep not being a man in her eyes. Like, he was like, I just felt emasculated. And even though this was just a bullshit ass minimum wage job, I had to do something to become the man of the house. So he goes back in and he humbles himself, and he actually talks his way into the job. He commiserates with the manager over the fact that both of them are trying to stop smoking, and he talks him into the job. Like the dude is like, he was like, oh, you about to come in here and tell me, basically how I'm a horrible white person again? And he was like, nah, let me apologize. Like, I'm a little more on edge than normal. I'm trying to quit smoking. And dude was like, yeah, me too. I get it. I understand. And they vibe on it. You know what I mean? They sort of vibe on it. So he comes back home, and it's Eid, which is the ending of Ramadan. And he said, when you end Ramadan, you end with a feast and a gift. And so he, cooks for her. He said, Nori, you're my blessing. You're my gift. He said, but here's your feast, pasta and wine. And he gives her a book. And the book's like The Art of Dramatic Writing. And he said, yeah, I got that with my employee discount. And she didn't even catch it at first. She's like just talking. She's like, wait a minute, whoa. Employee discount, as in you're an employee of the store? He was like, yeah, like you caught that. So he's so proud to let her know that he has a job. And you know what? Her reaction was gold. Like, she was happy. It didn't matter where it was, how much he was getting paid. She was just happy that he had found a job, and she was just supportive of it. So then we see like a little montage of him at the job doing, sweeping and helping people get books and stuff like that. And we see Nori, she bought furniture for the living room, and she done bought a couch for the living room. Come to find out, this is her third couch. Like, she just keeps switching it up because she can't make up her mind what couch she wants for the living room. We see where Nori's budgeting and paying her bills off, and, and he's like, I ain't never budgeted nothing in my life. And you see where both of them are telling their story of how they feel inadequate in the other person's eyes. Nori is like, he's so smart, he's so intelligent, like he's reading great black philosophers, and I'm reading, People magazine. And yes, I'm intelligent. Yes, I went to a great college and I have this great job, but he is so, she was like, next to him, I just don't feel adequate. And she was saying how he makes her just not, like, he's so smart, and she feels so small next to him. And then on the flip side, he's saying how he admires her for all that she's accomplished. Bought a house, got a car, got a good job, pays her bills on time, like doesn't bounce checks. And he was like, at this point, I can hardly afford to pay attention. And so it's interesting that they both see their own inadequacies in the other one, but the other person, vice versa, doesn't see that in them. So then we see where he meets Nori's mom. First of all, Nori, you tell your mama too much. She done told her mama all about their sex life, that he's gifted and big and lasts long and all these things. And he was real slick about telling her, I really wish I had heard that from Nori, but okay. And then they talk about the couch, and it's a pink couch. First of all, he walks in with a key, and her mama like, he got a key. So she already was kind of feeling some kind of way that he done walked up in her house with a key. Then he is talking to her about the couch, and he's convincing her that the couch should go in another room. And her mother was like, well, if she wants it in the living room, it can be in the living room. And he was like, okay. But he does slick, like, keep trying to tell her to put it in the living, put it in her office, I think it was. And Nori says, I think you're right. It's like everything he says, Nori goes along with. And I saw that in the last episode when he convinced her ass to go to work in her damn lingerie. He is very controlling, but she's also very accommodating. And she admits it in this episode that she is accommodating, and she doesn't really see a problem with it. But her mother is telling her, look, he hit the jackpot when he got you. Like, he was homeless. Now all of a sudden he got a key to your house and driving your car, and like, he got it going on. And you need to be really cool and slow down, because he's getting the better out of this deal. Like, I don't think he's a bad guy. Like, he's nice looking and he seems like a really charming guy. But at the end of the day, you need to be careful, because you giving up a whole lot and he ain't giving up hardly nothing other than some good sex. That's what she said. So then they get to talking about Valentine's Day. And he was like, yeah, I don't believe in Valentine's Day. It's just a corporate holiday. I don't celebrate it. He was like, if I love you every day. Why I got to have a special day that somebody else tells me that I got to show love? So, of course, her mother is like, well, Nori likes Valentine's Day, and Nori celebrates Valentine's Day. And this is where you went wrong, Nori, because he asked you, Nori, do you want to celebrate? Because if you want to celebrate Valentine's Day, we can celebrate Valentine's Day. That's where you should have just said yes and let it go. But no, you said no. Like, no, you're right. It's just a corporate holiday. Like, it's stupid. Why do we celebrate? Oh, yeah. You should have been like, yeah, I do. I want to do something for Valentine's Day. I mean, it could just been, we'll get there. It could have been something real simple. We'll get to that part, though. So she goes back to work. Now, Angela is not there. At first, I thought Angela had quit because she wasn't in this scene. But come to find out, Angela had just called out sick that day. So Nori's the only woman in the room. And all of these guys are talking about all these elaborate things they're going to be doing for their significant others for Valentine's Day. And Nori is like, Valentine's Day is just a corporate holiday. And they were like, oh, that's what your boyfriend told you? Oh, that's what he sold you? And so they basically proceed to school her on all the ways that men get out of Valentine's Day and other things they don't want to do. Talking about lying on their grandmama dying. He was like, Norman, her boss was like, yeah, he was like, every man got about 12 grandmamas. And, so that means they got about, 8, 9 grandmamas that can die before they got to really get to their real family. And she was like, what? She was like, men go through all that just to get out of. He was like, you be surprised. So they going around the room. They are like giving her the blues. Do you hear me? They are clowning her about how she done let this man talk her out of Valentine's Day. So, of course, she goes home that night and tells Yasir all about it. And Yasir is like, Nori, he was like, Nori, they just jealous. They just jealous of me and you. He giving her the line or whatever. And she was like, don't none of them want me. Those are like my brothers. He was like, yeah, your brothers that would sleep with you if given the chance. And she's like, that's nasty. And no. So the next day at work is Valentine's Day. Everybody got flowers and candy. Like, the whole office is decorated. Even Angela got herself some a secret admirer. I think it's Keith. But she done got herself some flowers delivered to the job, a secret admirer and everything. And the Like the whole office. Of course, Nori is sitting there looking real stupid because she the only and she got main one got a boyfriend, but the only one that don't have nothing. Norman then showed up with long stem roses that he giving to all the women. He gonna tell Nori, "You looking a little lonely. I'm going to give you 2 roses." Next thing you know, his wife come running in there talking about how much she loves Norman. I know I love you so much, Norman. Da 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 da. He done bought her a damn Aston Martin for Valentine's Day. Now that's a hell of a gift for Valentine's Day. Now I done heard of people being proposed to on Valentine's Day. People, some real elaborate shit. But a brand new Aston Martin. Because at first I thought it was a Benz, but she said it was an Aston Martin. That just go to show you what I know. But it was a brand new Aston Martin, and hell, yeah. And then, of course, the sound system, he playing Jodeci All My Life, and they get to dancing in the parking lot. It's really cute. I thought it was a lot for Valentine's Day, but it's really, really cute. So, of course, Nori feeling some kind of way, and she goes up in her little hiding space where she think don't nobody know about. Angela up there with her boo getting it in. He is performing some oral exercises at the moment. And Angela's like, "Nori, what you doing up here?" And she was like, "Well, this is where I come when I'm feeling sorry for myself." So Angela's like, "Look, let me talk to my girl for a minute. We'll get back to that. Let me go holler at her." And she's like, "Look, you want to be celebrating Valentine's Day." And Nori finally admits, "Yes, I do." And she was like, "Then you should have told him. Like, you should have just said, look, I want to Angela is like a no nonsense, straight shoot from the hip. And she was like, you should have just told him that's what you wanted. So Nori and her family have the women in her family, they have like a singles day tradition on Valentine's Day for all the women who don't have a Valentine. They get together and watch movies and drink wine and talk shit and do what women do when they ain't got a man. And what's funny is I do that with one of my guy friends. We used to do an anti-Valentine's Day. We haven't done it in a long time. But we used to call it our anti-Valentine's Day. Well, we would spend Valentine's Day together. It was weird. We weren't dating. We weren't like boyfriend and girlfriend, but it was interesting because all our friends used to be like, so basically y'all spending Valentine's Day together to celebrate that y'all don't have no Valentines. All right, then. And in hindsight, it sounds pretty stupid. But that's what we used to do. So Yasir helps her decorate her house, and then he's leaving to go back to his apartment. And Nori is like, "Oh, with Ruby?" He was like, "Nori, that's where I live. That's my roommate. Don't do that. Don't trip." But she already in her feelings, one, because she really wants to be celebrating Valentine's Day. And then the fact that he's leaving and he's going to be with Ruby, his ex-girlfriend, even though he's not going to be with Ruby. But I would feel some kind of way about it too. But I would have told him I wanted to celebrate Valentine's Day so we wouldn't even be having this issue. So her grandmama show up with her mama and her auntie, right? Now mama then told auntie and grandma about Yasir and how controlling he is and how he got a key to the house and all this other stuff, right? They get to talking and the auntie is drilling her. Now you could tell that mama done told auntie all of this because mama just sitting back and letting auntie let auntie dig into Nori's ass. But she is digging into Nori's ass about this Yasir and how controlling he is, and you just let him tell you what to do and why you got a man, why you not celebrating Valentine's Day. And like they really get into it to the point where Nori is like, well, if you don't want to be here, you ain't got to be here. And her grandmother is like, thank God, because this is the dumbest damn thing. She was like, the first couple of years, it was fun, but it's just stupid now. I could be home watching Real of Fortune. So their singles day gets broken up real quick. But in the meantime, in the between time, all the stuff that Nori is telling her mother is coming back. She done told her mother everything. So everything, like even about the fact that he lives with his ex-girlfriend, like all of this auntie know. So they throwing it back at you. That's why you got to be careful what you tell people, even your mama, close as you and your mama might be, because all that stuff came right back at her. She threw it right back in her face. Yasir and Ruby. Ruby was cleaning out the refrigerator when Yasir got there. And they end up having it out. Yasir was like, look, let's just hash this out. Because, Ruby got an attitude. Let's just hash this out. And Ruby was like, nah, we good. He was like, no, we not good. You got an attitude. Like, I thought we were good. I thought we had talked this out. I thought we were in a better place. You said I could stay here for 6 weeks. I got 3 more weeks. She was like, 2. He was like, is my math wrong? Like, I thought 3 minus 6 minus 3. And so they get to talking, and Ruby was like, you know what? For a quick second, I had convinced myself, I had thought that you came here for me, that it was Valentine's Day and you came here for me. She was like, but in that, it's just a quick little snicket. But then I realized, you're not. You're not here for me. That you just here because Nori got something else to do tonight, and you're just taking up space until you can go back over there. She was like, and I just can't do this. Like, I thought I was good, but I'm not. And, and he was like, Ruby, you don't want me. And she looked at him like he was crazy. He was like, look, I slept on that couch for 5 months. He said, you ain't even try to touch me but 2 times. You don't want me. Because if you wanted me, you would have wanted me then. He was like, you just want the idea of me. Because he was like, you, and I was like, you know what, that's a valid point. Like, because we saw that in the first episode. She was talking to him crazy and treating him like shit off the break. And he was like, if you really wanted me, if you really wanted me, you would have worked for me. You would have fought for me. So then we see yes, and so they kind of, Ruby was like, look, I hear what you're telling me, and that's all good, but I need a minute. She was like, I need about an hour to be by myself. So I need you to find somewhere else to go for about an hour. I just need a minute. I just need to process. And I think it's just the moment. It's just Valentine's Day. It's the finality of it, and the fact that he did show up. Like, he probably ain't been at that apartment in weeks, but the day he shows up is Valentine's Day. Probably for a minute, I could see that she kind of went there for a second. So then he was like, yeah, I just need. So he ends up going to the coffee shop. Now we see Nori and her mom talking, and basically, her mother is comparing Yasir to Nori's father. Because she was like, both of them were Muslims. Both of them have these, crazy ideas about, life and the philosophies and stuff. And Nori was like, you can't compare him to Dad. Like, he is not my father, and he's not going to do to me what my father did to you. And you can't put that on him because he didn't do it. He didn't do anything to you, and you can't put that on him. And so they have a good moment. They do. They have like I said, I still think that, he's doing too much. You know what I'm saying? I still think he's doing too much, but I see where her mother is being, being very judgmental based on her experience with her father. So he goes to the coffee shop. Sean shows up at the coffee shop. Sean just there to pick up some food. He was like, man, whoo, that Valentine's Day sex will do it to you. He was like, man, and we did it without a condom. So, for the next 28 days, I'm going to be on edge. Sean is a fool. But they get to talking or whatever. And, he was like, why you not with Nori? He was like, man, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Sean was like, cut the bullshit. He was like, you don't celebrate Valentine's Day because you don't have any money. And that's what you should do, and that's what you should have said to Nori. You should just be upfront and let her know, look, I love you, and I want to spend time with you. I just don't have the money to do the whole Valentine's Day thing. He said, because at the end of the day, you're here and she's there. And if you're not doing for her what she deserves, she's going to find somebody that will. He was like, so what you need to do is you need to take your ass over there and you need to make it right with Nori. He said you're not dating her on the day that should be dated or something like that. But he gives him some good advice. Basically tell him, get off your ass and go over there and get your woman before somebody else does. So Yasir shows up. He knocks on the door, which I thought was interesting that he didn't just open up the door. He knocked on the door. Now, Nori's mom there, she was sleeping there because she was too drunk to drive herself home. And she was like, he just got to sleep on the couch because I'm not giving up the bed. Nori was like, ain't nobody telling you got to go home. So he shows up and he's got flowers. And he basically tells her, he was like, look, I love you, Nori. And I got love for you every day. I don't need a special day. But, today is no different than any other day. So I'm going to show my love for you. And he has flowers for her and everything. And then he says, we need a song. He said every couple should have a song. So whenever that song plays, they think of each other and it's their song. So he plays Love Ballad by LTD. Is it LTD? With Jeffrey Osborne, honey. That's one of my songs. That thing. Let me tell you something. Once again, the soundtrack, boom, because they had the whole Mary J. Blige thing going at the beginning. Honey, that if I could sing, I'd sing it for y'all. But you know, Jeffrey Osborne hit that. Ah, yes. He said, "Have never been so much in love." Yes, honey. Yes. So yeah, that was that's kind of where we ended up. And they're dancing, you know what I mean? They're dancing, and her mother is singing it. And her mother heard everything he said, and her mother's seeing them dancing. And you can see in her mother's face that her mother's like, okay, all right. Because, you know, Nori says to her mom, you just got to trust me like he loves me. And I love him. And you have to trust that I'm not doing anything I don't want to do. I'm not giving up anything I'm not okay with giving up. Even though you gave up Valentine's Day, you wasn't okay with it. But he came around, you know. But Sean got his ass together. So that was Love Is, y'all. Again, I hope y'all are enjoying it. If you haven't, you know, checked it out yet and you just checking out this review, go watch it. Go watch it from the beginning. I'm telling you, I think it's worth the view. It's to me, it's like a TV series, Love Jones. Like when you look at the movie Love Jones and what they went through, the back and forth and all of that. To me, this is just a slow down, week by week Love Jones. And if you loved Love Jones, I don't see why you wouldn't love this. Let me know what y'all think, though. Peace.